The story of Rama and the Hindu epic Ramayana. Rama, Rama, is the seventh incarnation of the Hindu god Vishnu. Along with Krishna, Rama is considered one of the most important representatives of Vishnu. Rama is a king of Ayodhya in Hindu scriptures. Rama is also the main character of the Hindu epic Ramayana, which recounts his authority. It is generally believed that Rama was born about 1.2 million years ago, during the Treta Yuga, an age spanning 1,296,000 years. Rama is one of the most famous and talked about figures in Hinduism. Especially the Bhikshuni and Vaishnava scriptures of South and Southeast Asia. King Dasharatha based his capital at Ayodhya, ruling over the entire kingdom of Koshala. The king had 3 wives but no son despite praying to the gods many times, and his behavior was very virtuous. Finally, the king planned to hold a grand prayer ceremony, sacrificing a horse in front of the altar. At this time, in the heavenly world, the gods were also facing difficulties. Being harassed by the demon king Ravana, the gods came to ask for help from the creator god Brahma. Said that the demon king has received his favor, so no god can kill him. Is that also the symbolic meaning of the view of treatment? If there is good, then there must be bad. Understand this by one's own perspective. If you take away the bad, the good will no longer exist. Closing parenthesis. However, the demon king was too arrogant to even humble himself to ask for the worldly people's grace, so he could have been killed by the worldly people. Just then came riding the divine bird Garuda. The gods asked Vishnu to be born as a human again to help eliminate the demon king. Vishnu accepted. While King Dasharatha was performing a prayer ceremony, Vishnu appeared in the form of a tiger amidst the fire and smoke and told the king to take some rice and milk during the ceremony and divide it into 3 parts for his 3 wives to eat. The king obeyed. Queen Kaushalaya got 1 part, concubine Kaikeyi 1 part, and the 3rd youngest and most beautiful concubine, Mrs. Sumitra, got 2 parts. At the right time, Queen Kaushalaya gave birth to Rama. The concubine Kaikeyi gave birth to Bharata, and the young and beautiful concubine Sumitra was the mother of the twins Lakshmana and Shatrughna. At the same time, in the heavenly world, the gods were also very active. They created a large crowd of monkeys so that they would assist Vishnu in eliminating the demon king later. Then for 16 years, King Dasharatha's subjects lived peacefully and happily. Children were filial to their parents. Brothers in a family knew how to tolerate each other. Everyone treated each other always in good faith. Means. The 4 princes grew up to be handsome, with heroic personalities. All 4 were admired by their subjects. Among the 4 princes, Rama is superior in both his intelligence and all qualities of courage. When Prince Rama was just 16 years old, the ascetic Viswamitra came from a hut in the deep forest to the capital, asking the prince to come and help destroy a group of demons that often came to disturb the monk's time of meditation. After asking his father's permission and comforting him not to worry, Rama followed the hermit into the forest. Prince Lakshmana, who was very fond of and loyal to him, also asked to accompany him. The 2 brothers helped the Taoist kill hundreds of demons and chase away 2 demon lords, Maricha and Shuvahu. After the work was finished, Rama asked the Taoist Viswamitra if he needed anything else. The Taoist told him that currently in the kingdom of Videha, King Janaka was performing the ordination ceremony for Princess Sita. The king had a bow so heavy and strong that even a god could hardly hold it. Legend has it that the storm god Rudra gave that bow to a clairvoyant monk in the dynasty. This monk offered it to the king. Today, the king announced that any prince who can hold the magic bow will be selected as his son-in-law. The Taoist advised Rama to go there. As for Princess Sita, the Taoist made it clear that in fact she was not the biological child of King Janaka. Once upon a time, on the day of the planting ceremony, Janaka went to the fields to plough the fields. The king saw a baby girl appearing in the furrow, so he took her home and raised her and named her Sita, meaning ploughed. Sita grew up both gentle and strangely beautiful. The two prince brothers, Rama and Lakshmana, heard the story and were very interested, so they asked the hermit Viswamitra to take him away. So the three of them set off to the capital of the Videha kingdom, Mithila. King Janaka welcomed them warmly. Taoist Viswamitra asked the king to bring out the magic bow so that Rama's son could strengthen him. Immediately the king ordered a group of soldiers to guard the warehouse, and 5,000 people pushed a massive, 8-wheeled cast iron cart with a bow on top. Rama bowed his head politely and asked the king to let him try, then gently lifted the lid of the cart, lifted the bow, and straightened the bow in a shooting position. The bow bends under the power of the god's arm. Suddenly, it was as if there was a huge thunderclap that shook the earth and sky to the point of collapsing. The bow was broken in half. The terrifying moment quickly passed. Everyone joyfully admired Rama's heroic strength, and the wedding ceremony began to prepare. A delegation of messengers was urgently sent within 3 days to Ayodhya to announce the good news and invite King Dasharatha to attend the wedding. King Dasharatha immediately called a meeting, announced to the court officials the good news about Prince Rama, and ordered the treasurer to collect some gold, silver and jewels, prepare elephants and horses, and then the next day. The royal family, a number of mandarins and an elite army traveled day and night to the Videha kingdom. The two fathers met and shook hands happily. The two kingdoms became allies due to their fate. Not only that, King Janaka also married another princess to Lakshman and married 2 daughters of an emperor to Bharata and Shatrugna. After the pairing ceremony of those national people and genius couples was completed, the two couples Bharata and Shatrugna continued their other visits. The two couples, Rama and Lakshmana and his wife, followed their father back to Ayodhya. People throughout the kingdom jubilantly hung lanterns and flowers to celebrate the party. Although the love is strong, the hero is not short-tempered, especially with Prince Rama. The time came when King Dasharatha felt tired and wanted to withdraw, giving the throne to Rama to rule. He called a meeting of his courtiers to express his thoughts. However, he also said that the final decision is still the will of the ministers, if they see that among the princes there is someone more virtuous than Rama. The mandarins all agreed in unison that no one was more perfect in martial arts, more perfect in talent and virtue than Prince Rama. That news spread. People from the capital to every corner of the Koshala kingdom were once again jubilantly preparing for the coronation day of Rama, their beloved prince. The excitement of the entire kingdom was no different from the sound of the waves of the ocean on moonlit nights. Rama and Sita fasted together and chanted to the gods to prepare for the coronation day. Lady Kaikeyi was at first happy because she had always loved Rama as much as her own son, Prince Bharata. She believes that when a virtuous person like Rama ascends the throne, he will enjoy the same wealth as his younger siblings, and still respects her as much as his mother, the queen, as before. But a dark cloud came to cover the happy royal sky. That was the nanny who took care of concubine Kaikeyi. In the past, she was responsible for raising her as her own child. She has a large hump on her back and a cunning personality. She came to explain to her that if Rama ascended the throne, not only would her son, Prince Bharata, have to be inferior, but she herself would also have to be invisible under the authority of Queen Kausalya. At first the concubine dismissed her words, saying that such bad things had never happened to Rama, but then her harsh words gradually injected the venom of suspicion into Kaikeyi's heart. In the end, this concubine was completely satisfied. She left behind her silk clothes and precious jewelry and voluntarily retreated to the cold palace deep in the forest. When King Dasharatha heard the news, he quickly came and saw his beloved concubine with messy hair, stained clothes, lying crying bitterly on the dirty wooden floor. The king told her that if she had any dissatisfaction, she should tell him, and the king would quickly resolve it so that her worries would melt like snow under the sunlight. She said her dissatisfaction was with the king choosing Rama to ascend to the throne. She asked the king to cancel that order, pass the throne to Bharata and exile Prince Rama to the forest for 14 years. The king was surprised and thought he might die in his sleep and advised the concubine not to ask him to do such an inhumane job. Mrs. Kaikeyi recalled the story of how she once took care of the injured king on the battlefield. That day, the king promised to fulfill her 2 requests. Since then, she has never asked for anything. King Dasharatha understood the honor code of the warrior class. Once he made a promise, he could not break his word. Rama, as the crown prince, could oppose that arbitrary and unreasonable decision, but Rama did not show any resentment. On the contrary, he gladly accepted the exile and helped his father fulfill his old promise. Rama wanted his wife, Princess Sita, to stay in the kingdom so she wouldn't have to endure the hardships of exile in the forest. But Sita was determined to follow her husband. She rejected all of Rama's arguments and responded with extremely emotional arguments. "I cannot obey what my husband said in a moment of impatience. Because his advice is not suitable for a warrior and a prince, because a loyal young woman always follows her husband wherever he goes." When Rama was exiled, Sita was also exiled. A young woman cannot leave her husband to stay, even if the kingdom is ruled by her beloved son or sister. Together with her husband, she will share the same suffering. Her fate is bound to her husband's fate. If the righteous son of Raghu, Rama, walks into the dark and gloomy forest, Sita will move ahead of her husband to clear the thorny and desolate paths. Lakshmana, Rama's younger brother, also refused to obey the prince and stayed at home. He asked to come along to help his brother clear the forest, cut down trees, and take care of his sister-in-law. The farewell ceremony echoed with the cries of relatives and subjects. In particular, the crowd of subjects followed behind the prince's car all that day. They stopped for the night on the riverbank under the quietly curious starlight. The next day, Prince Rama quietly left with his wife, younger brother and driver, while his subjects were still sleeping soundly on the riverbank. That day they got lost and had to stop overnight on the banks of the Ganges River. The next day, Prince Rama sent the driver back to the capital, and the three of them crossed the Ganges River, headed to Chitrakuta mountain, then through the forest to the Yamuna River. The three people made themselves wooden rafts to cross the river and then continued walking to the hermitage, a famous hermit at that time, Bharadvaja. He welcomed them warmly because he knew the injustice they were suffering and helped them set up tents to live. In the middle of this deep forest, there are abundant plants and animals, all day and night, gurgling streams, birds chirping, gibbons singing, cicadas humming. Meanwhile, in the capital Ayodhya, King Dasharatha completely shunned his concubine Kaikeyi, leaving only Queen Kausalya to take care of him at a time when the king felt so close to heaven and earth. However, when the queen expressed her excessive complaints, the king advised her not to bother blaming Kaikeyi anymore. The misfortune that the king is currently suffering is the consequence of a previous immoral act. At that time he was a prince famous for his marksmanship. People can aim and shoot or hear shots every time they hit. One day, in the forest, he heard something like the sound of an elephant using its trunk to suck up water behind a clump of trees. He immediately put an arrow into his bow and shot. Unexpectedly, there was the sound of someone crying for mercy. The person who rushed forward turned out to have mistakenly shot a young hermit who was carrying a vase down to the stream to get water. The hermit said he came to visit his blind parents who also lived in hiding recently. He asked the prince to go to his parents and explain the situation clearly. The prince came and apologized to the blind old couple. The prince took them to the stream bank. They hugged the child's body, then set a fire and burned themselves with the child's body. Before dying, the old father said, "What is the cause, is the result. The prince killed my son, later he also lost his son, and died in sadness." Those words have faded with time but now resonate more clearly than ever. Having finished telling the story, King Dasharatha died. Prince Bharata, who recently visited his uncle's kingdom, was also quickly summoned home. Lady Kaikeyi happily told Bharata the good news that he would inherit the throne. Unexpectedly, Bharata vehemently opposed his mother, blaming her for causing his father's death in grief. As for him, he never sat on the throne under the legitimate authority of Prince Rama. Then he went to comfort Queen Kausalya. King Dasharatha's funeral ceremony was held. On this occasion, sage Vasishtha reminded everyone that the day will come when they will have to leave this world, but it is the duty of the living to fulfill their responsibilities. After that, Bharata and his queens along with some sages went to the deep forest and begged Rama to return to the throne, but Rama still refused. He only felt the need to fulfill his duty as a son and preserve his father's promise of honor. Faced with Rama's courageous spirit and iron will, Bharata had to give in. However, he only assumed the regency during Rama's absence. He asked Rama to give him a pair of sandals to bring home and place on the throne. Although he ruled the country for his brother, Bharata did not live a royal life in the palace but lived the ascetic life of a hermit. He said that if in 14 years, Rama did not return, he would set the fire. After Bharata returned to the regency of Koshala, Rama, Lakshmana and Sita advanced further into the deep forest, both to avoid all contact with the world, and to avoid the Rakshasas demons who often come and harass the hermits meditating here. In the last year of his exile, Rama suddenly encountered an extremely painful disaster caused by a female demon, Rakshasi, named Swarapa Naka. This female demon is the younger sister of the demon king Ravana, who was then reigning over Lanka, the island of Ceylon. Swarapa Naka met Rama and immediately fell in love with him, transforming her ugly form into a beautiful young girl, seducing him to marry her and return to Lanka to enjoy all worldly happiness. Rama pointed to Sita, saying he had a wife, then pointed to Lakshmana, saying his sister didn't have a wife with her, so she could ask him about a couple. Swarapa Naka glanced at Lakshmana, then the prince spoke jokingly, "I am a slave to the crown prince. Would you like to be the bride of a servant?" Partly because she was so infatuated with Rama, partly because she was resentful of Lakshmana's teasing voice, the female demon rushed in to kill Sita. Rama stood up to protect Sita and told Lakshmana to resist. Lakshmana defeated Swarapa Naka, cutting off all the demon's ears and nose. From there began a period of war between the Rama brothers and the demons, but their consecutive fierce attacks were neutralized by Rama's divine power to turn defeat into victory. Swarapa Naka had to ask for help from the demon king Ravana, encouraging his brother by talking about Sita's beauty. Ravana initially ordered one of his powerful subordinates, Maricha, to sneak close to Rama's hermitage. Maricha turned into a beautiful deer, with a golden neck, white body, and horns sparkling like jade. Sita was so fascinated that she asked Rama to try to catch the deer alive to be her companion during her time in the forest. If he can't be captured alive, and if he has to shoot him to death, then Rama should peel off the skin and tan it to make a carpet, so that when he returns to the kingdom's capital, that skin will be a precious souvenir to remind the three of them of their days in exile. Exiled in the deep forest. At the beginning of the hunt, Rama felt suspicious and told Lakshmana to watch Sita carefully. Following the deer deep into the forest, Rama pulled out his bow and arrow to shoot at the disguised demon. Before dying, it imitated Rama's voice and shouted, "O Sita, Lakshmana, come and save me." Lakshmana suspected it was a trick of the devil and refused to leave Sita, but Sita urged him too hard, so Lakshmana had to listen to her and go into the forest to search for Rama. At that time, the demon king Ravana appeared, disguised as a hermit, and entered Sita's hermitage. He saw that as his sister had praised, Sita was as beautiful and gentle as the full moon, shining with silver light in the late night sky. Thinking he was a real hermit, Sita followed custom and invited him into the hermitage. He said that he was truly the demon king Ravana, ruling over Lanka, and advised Sita to accept the position of queen he had given her. Sita contemptuously refused and warned the demon king that it was no easier for him to take the sun and moon on the dome than to take away the wife of the brave god Rama. Ravana then kidnapped Sita, put him in a car, and flew back to Lanka. Sita called for help, but how could Rama and Lakshmana hear? Over a mountain peak, her cry for help woke up the god bird Jatayu. Jatayu is the king of vultures. The divine bird Jatayu then rushed forward like a bolt of lightning, intending to destroy Ravana's car, but was hit by the demon king, bleeding profusely and falling to the ground. When the car flew over the monkey hill, Sita dropped her scarf and jewelry to indirectly mark the way. Finally, the Demon King brought her back to the emerald green island of Lanka. The waves rolling around the island were lighter green like sapphire. Ravana's palace is truly a silver terrace, golden roof, extremely splendid jade door, surrounded by hundreds of flowers blooming, ripe fruit in full bloom. Sita was imprisoned in a forbidden palace, waiting for the time when she agreed to marry the Demon King. Rama returned, extremely hurt and angry because he was deceived and lost his beloved wife. He and Lakshmana set out to search for Sita and met the dying Jatayu. Before breathing his last breath, Jatayu told the two to keep going straight to the south. On the way, the two brothers encountered a monster that rushed out to block the way but were defeated. The monster asked to be cremated. Then from the ashes, a Gandharva of god Indra appeared. It turns out that Kabanda, that singer, was previously bewitched to become a monster. Now, thanks to the Rama brothers cremating him, his original form is revealed. Kabanda told the two brothers that Sita had been captured and brought back to Lanka and advised them that if they wanted to defeat the Demon King Ravana, they must seek help from the Monkey King Sugriva. The Monkey King resides in the Nilgiri hills. When the two brothers met Sugriva, the Monkey King was also in pain because his half-brother named Bali had stolen both his wife and the throne. Thanks to Rama's help, Sugriva was able to repay his hatred. To repay the favor, Sugriva sent his courtier Hanuman, son of the wind god Vayu, on a journey to explore Sita's whereabouts. Hanuman had the talent to walk as fast as the wind. He met the bird god Sampati, the younger brother of the bird god Jatayu. Legend has it that both of these divine bird brothers are the children of the divine bird Garuda, ridden by Vishnu. Once upon a time, Jatayu and his sister flew up close to the sun, so Sampati's wings were burned off that day. This time meeting Hanuman, Sampati confirmed that he saw Ravana kidnapping Sita to Lanka. Because of this confirmation, Sampati was rewarded by the gods. His burned wings grew back, and Sampati could freely fly in the air again like before. When he reached the island of Lanka, Hanuman met a mother python that was about to swallow him. Hanuman then magically transformed the rainbow into a large one, and the python also transformed into a large rainbow. Suddenly Hanuman recorded the baby with just his thumb, then ran straight into the mother python's mouth and crawled out through the left ear. Then a female demon lurked, caught the shadow and pulled Hanuman into her mouth to eat. This female demon had the talent of catching a shadow and was able to pull her prey like that. Hanuman let the demon swallow him, then suddenly swelled up, bursting the demon's stomach and crawling out. Arriving at Ravana's palace, Hanuman turned into a cat and walked around. When passing through the residences of Ravana's concubines, every one of them was as beautiful as a white lotus. But Hanuman did not see Sita among those beauties. She was locked up in the Ashoka garden and guarded by very strange female demons. Every day, Ravana came to tempt her, but she refused every time. Waiting for a convenient moment, Hanuman appeared, holding up Rama's ring to let Sita believe. Sita was overjoyed. But when Hanuman offered to let him carry her home, Sita refused because she thought Rama's wife could not let the monkey carry her home. She just kindly asked Hanuman to return to tell Rama that the Demon King had decided that if in 2 months she still insisted on refusing, he would kill her. Before leaving, Hanuman thought he had to destroy a part of the country and Ravana's palace to make it worthless, so he stretched himself tall and turned into a raging storm. Some palaces collapsed, many ancient trees around the area had their roots peeled off. Indrajit, Ravana's son, shot Hanuman and tied him with a rope to hand him over to his father. Ravana considered Hanuman as Rama's messenger, so he let him go home, but tied a rag soaked in oil to his tail and set it on fire. Hanuman then jumped from one roof to another. The wind blew up the fire, all the roofs caught fire, and some more of Ravana's palaces were reduced to ashes. When Hanuman brought the news back to Rama's camp, everyone shouted for joy, and the army prepared to cross the 60-mile-wide sea from the mainland to the island of Lanka. Vidhishana, demon king Ravana's younger brother, also came to surrender because he did not agree with him about his aggressive attitude towards someone who was the embodiment of virtue like Rama. He advised him many times to reform his ways, but not only did Ravana not listen, he also kicked him out of Lanka. The attack on Lanka had only one last major obstacle: the sea. Rama used treasures to cause earthquakes and collapse mountains, but could not fill the sea separating Lanka from the mainland. Rama was about to use the treasure to drain the sea water when the sea god majestically appeared and calmly told Rama that according to the laws of creation, it was impossible to wade the sea with your feet, so you should find someone to build a bridge to cross. Rama then summoned Nala, the miraculous architect Viswakarma. Nala used extremely large round rocks and threw them into the sea. One rock was a short distance from the other, enough for the monkey army to jump until they reached it. Lanka Island. Hanuman steals Rama. Angada, son of Bali, grandson of the lightning god Indra, took Lakshmana and flew across the sea. This group of monkey troops jumping across the sea looked very strange. Especially the monkey generals were even more strange. Sugriva was as shiny as silver. Angada was as pure white as a lotus petal. Hanuman was sparkling yellow. Another general was black, had a yellow tail, and had a red face. Another general was green. So the whole army when crossing the sea looked like a colorful rainbow. When Ravana saw that Rama's great army had surrounded him, he opened the gate to meet the enemy. Ravana's army rode bears, wolves, elephants, lions, camels, donkeys, wild boars. They rushed out and howled with terrifying sounds to scare the enemy. The monkey army uprooted trees, threw stones and used their own fangs and claws as weapons. The battle lasted 2 or 3 days without victory or defeat. Once Indrajit, Ravana's son, unleashed a treasure to bind both brothers Rama and Lakshmana with connected snakes, but the wind god Vayu promptly sent the bird god Garuda to the rescue. The snakes just caught a glimpse of Garuda's silhouette from the horizon and quickly escaped. When Ravana rushed in to kill Rama, he was shot and lost all 10 crowns on his 10 heads. He was so embarrassed that he asked for help from his younger brother named Kumbhakarna. Previously, Kumbhakarna also shared the same opinion as his younger brother, Vibhishana, advising Ravana to return Sita to Rama, but differed from Vibhishana in being determined to be loyal to him, even though he knew what he did was wrong. Because of Brahma's curse, Kumbhakarna had the habit of sleeping for 6 months straight, only waking up one day to eat voraciously, then sleeping again for another 6 months. This time he was awakened midway. He also ate a hearty meal and then rushed out to the battlefield to fight Rama. In a short time, both sides argued. Rama chopped his head off. His massive body fell down, blocking the flow of water. Invisible Indra Jit flew up high and stole a shot. This time both brothers Rama and Lakshmana fell unconscious. Thinking that her son had defeated the enemy, Ravana brought Sita to witness the death of her husband and brother-in-law. Sita struggled and cried, not for the fate of Rama and Lakshmana, because according to her, since she was a warrior, covering her body with horse skin was unavoidable. Much less did she have to cry for her own fate, because born from the earth, she accepted all the miserable fates of life until the day she returned to the womb of Mother Earth. She wept. This was the fate of Queen Kaushalaya, who had been widowed and now lost her children. The scene of her days fading away, her grief so endless, she asked what could be more pitiful than that. The next night, the battlefield stopped. Hanuman and Vibhishana lit torches to search. Hanuman was very sad because he saw the monkey soldiers dying and wounded, but the royal physician who followed him told him that in a mountain in the Himalayas there was a special herb that could bring these dead soldiers back to life. Hanuman then turned a tall, rainbow-like magic and went straight up that mountain. He bent down and saw the complex plants and trees, not knowing which one was the real miracle medicine. Then he uprooted the entire mountain and brought it back for the royal physician to find. Then carry the mountain back to its original place. Indeed, the divine grass brought back to life all the wounded soldiers, including the two brothers Rama and Lakshmana. Early the next day, when Indra Jit appeared, Lakshmana immediately shot him with the bow of the lightning god Indra. When Ravana heard the news, he got angry and went straight to the place where Sita was imprisoned to kill her. But during her imprisonment, Sita's virtue touched the demons, so this time she was protected by those demons and hidden in a safe place, thus escaping death. Ravana went straight to the battlefield to fight Rama in one final battle. The gods on high witnessed this heroic battle. At first, arrows flew across the sky, then both sides gradually used clubs, awls, pitchforks and spears. The murderous aura was so strong that the wind held its breath, the sun seemed to pale and waver. An arrow from Rama flew forward and cut off one of Ravana's heads. A new head immediately grew and the heroic battle continued without victory or defeat. Finally, Rama used Brahma's terrible name to shoot at Ravana. The arrow soared, penetrated the armor into the heart, escaped through the back, shot straight out to sea and then returned to Rama's arrow bag. Ravana died instantly. The whole universe resounds with elegant music. The gentle wind rises gently, the sweet scent of flowers fills the air, the sunlight shines with the blue sky and sea. Rama won the battle and appointed the virtuous Vibhishana to the throne of Lanka. But everyone was surprised to see that Rama did not accept Sita. He said the reason he had to kill Ravana and free her was because of duty and honor. To prove her decency, Sita resolutely set herself up on fire. When the fire burned all around, she was caught by the fire god Agni, brought back to Rama and vindicated her. Rama then revealed that in truth he did not doubt Sita at all. The reason he let her suffer through fire was because he needed to prove to everyone Sita's innocence. The couple reunited and set off to return to the capital. The people of Koshala joyfully welcomed Rama. Shortly after that, public opinion again doubted Sita's virtue and feared that the morality of women in the country could be threatened as a result. Rama wanted the people not to be able to blame him for anything. On the occasion of Sita's pregnancy, she offered to go on a pilgrimage to the hermitages living on the banks of the Ganges River. Rama agreed and sent Lakshmana to the tower. "Please tell me that when you get there, tell me the truth about your decision. You want Sita to stay there and not come back." When he reached the banks of the Ganges River, near the ascetic Valmiki's hermitage, Lakshmana tearfully told his sister-in-law his brother's decision. Sita was painfully stunned, and finally she said that she understood that because Rama was responsible for ruling an entire kingdom, he had to have that attitude so that his subjects could not blame him. She was only resentful that the people had witnessed her behavior for so long and still had the heart to doubt her heart like that. Sita stayed at the hermitage of the ascetic Valmiki, and a few months later gave birth to twin children, Kusa and Lava. Years passed, the two children grew up, were accepted by Valmiki as disciples, and at the same time Valmiki also began composing this epic poem Ramayana. One day, Rama organized a very solemn horse slaughtering ceremony, Ashvamedha. Valmiki brought two disciples to attend. In the presence of Rama, Kusa and Lava sang the epic Ramayana consisting of 500 stanzas, 24,000 double verses long, singing 20 stanzas a day and singing continuously for 25 days to finish. Rama recognized them as his children. He could not hold back the tears that filled his eyes and missed the gentle and virtuous Sita. Rama asked the monk Valmiki to take her to the court. When reunited, Rama only asked her to once again publicly swear an oath about her integrity to reassure the entire people. Amidst the splendid royal palace, in the presence of gods and representatives of the people. Throughout all regions of the kingdom, Sita looked lovingly at her husband and children shining like newly rising stars, but also bitterly thought to herself, "Queen Rama has to humble herself and ask for the people to testify? A wise father. My heart is as bright as the full moon. There is no need for anyone to witness it." 2 tears filled her eyes, she knelt down and bowed her head on the ground. From the heart of the Mother Earth she gave birth to a child, living and eating, her heart is so wonderful. Din Nin, the moon is bright. The sea and the sky, the spirit bears witness to my words. Life is full of wind and sorrow, Mother, please welcome your child back. Along with her heart-wrenching prayer, the earth opened up, and a throne rose up. Mom, please take your child home, just as she wished. The gentle Sita passed away forever. Rama was horrified and painfully begged to return Sita, but Brahma appeared and comforted her, telling her that he would meet her in heaven. Indeed, he then gave up his throne. For me, return to heaven, return to my original self as God Vishnu and reunite with Sita, who is none other than the goddess of fortune Lakshmi. Thank you for joining us for today's fairy tale. We hope these stories bring joy and meaning to your day. If you love our channel, please hit the subscribe button so you won't miss any exciting tales. Wishing you a good night and sweet dreams. See you in the next story.